Here we are in the Buddha Smrti Park for the International Buddhist Sangha conference. The first part where His Holiness the Dalai Lama is supposed to arrive in a minute or two.
Oh, from France. How are you?
And Holland, Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Taşidilik.
드시들래. 창살. 감성보.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
आप इनवाइट किए प्रोग्राम बनाइए आपके यहाँ
You're from Bangladesh?
Itanagar.
Oh, Itanagar. Oh. Sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sambha mangala Kantu sambha devata sambha sanghanubhavena Sada sotti bhavantu te
वही कोटवा पर एक जगह स्थित रहेगा उसी गेट से बताइए अब वही पे
Oh my goodness. Holiness is coming in the car. Yes, Buddha Smrti.
Okay.
Tang cha sabbalotasming manasang bhavaye aparimanang odang adojatiriyancha asambadang averang asapattang titang charang nisinnova sayanova yavatassa vigatamindo etang satin aditteya brahmametang viharang idamahu Titen Janupagam Silava Dasanena Sampanno Kamesu Vinaya Jedang Naijatu Gabbaseya Punariti Sa
तक और भारत में इमरजेंसी लगी थी। लाखों लोग पूरे देश में लोकनायक जयप्रकाश नारायण समेत बंद किए गए थे और इस जेल में भी बहुत सारे आंदोलनकारियों को बंद किया गया था। और मुझको अच्छी तरह याद है इसमें सुशील मोदी जी भी रहे होंगे और मैं भी कुछ दिनों के लिए यहाँ रखा गया था। तो इस भगवान बुद्ध के 2550 में महापरिनिर्वाण वर्ष में हम लोगों ने निर्णय किया और सरकार ने इसका निर्माण कराया।
나가는 식 계시기 집에 떠니 그 메다버려서 따와대이디 뭐에 내수지 심주 제외 통하네 뒤 터도 집에 리식이 내던 게 터도 단돈 담바 써야지 탄에 주집을 내던 게 구조 담바 써야지 담바 니스 셔야 돼 뭐는 수 저는 어떻게 그 떠주고 되지 직세 다 시내수 뒤뒤 시를 샤베 타라 애니 떠줄 때 이르체니 다 디디 애니 셈 교주 동야 셈이야 게 동야도 수 제니 용도잖아 다 최고죠 사실이 인데根据 부드스게 하지도 지나라 가서 우리 그게 냠는 시당 거 대전식 다 대전순 체연데 산제베 최 냠는 시야스인데 산제베 최바로 고야마도 출루시난 고기야 말 저요 말 다소스에 체리세야데 점린 찔하게 저해도지다 점린 찔을 판하지 쳐도 세트네 있는 안다때 지 산제게 다베 줄라카 지 따다 따버쳐 되지다 다 요래 이제 내니 고도 내게 수주숑 다 딩아서 신그 띠네 소국도 와스 대사도 마세베 말한저다 히말라야 리규를 여대베 다지 관가 상말로 간다 관바디디 간다지 안달럽대야 그 간주 땡주 디디 로좀 제세 다 띠네지
ना करते हुए कि हम जैसे कहते हैं वैसे ही हम उस अपने आप को उसमें डाल दें तो ये ज़्यादा ठीक रहता है, ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। हम धर्म के जो बातें जो उसे केवल बातों पर ही ना रखते हुए उसे अभ्यास के रूप में रखें। और ख़ास करके बुद्ध के जो यहाँ अनुयायी जो आप लोग आए हुए हैं, सबसे मेरे यही अनुरोध है और जो बात आपके सामने रखे गए हैं उन सबको आप ध्यान में रखें, मन में रखें और फिर अपने कहा है
Those people who speak English, who understand English, they usually say, I also speak something in English. But this time, I think all those subjects which I mentioned is something very familiar to you, so no need to repeat. So better to say good night, good sleep.
Great. Buddha and Dalai Lama.
Thank you, Your Holiness. I would like to request now Ms. Wan to present a gift on behalf of the Vietnamese delegates. And would request the Chief Sangha Nayak of Sri Lanka to present the stupa to His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. Pardon me, to the Honorable Chief Minister as well. I would now like to invite Ms. Bandana Priyashi, Chairperson of the Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee, to offer a vote of thanks, and also the District Magistrate of
the world to meet and discuss issues of common interest. His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave us the spiritual insight and blessings for the successful organization of this event. We are thankful to him for gracing this occasion and inaugurating the conference. The Honorable Chief Minister of Bihar took keen interest in this event, and we are grateful to you, sir, for your support and guidance. We express our heartfelt gratitude to the heads and the high priests of different Sangha traditions for accepting our invitation. The Most Venerable Mahanayaka Mahathero of Sri Lanka, His Holiness Mahanayaka of Myanmar, His Eminence Sakya Rinpoche, Venerable Thai Sangha Representative, the Most Venerable Sangha Raja of Myanmar, Most Venerable Sangha Nayaka Sudhananda Mahathero of Bangladesh, Most Venerable Shanti Shugai of Japan, and Venerable Jem Dorji of Bhutan Sangha Representative are here amongst us.
Here we are in the Buddha Smrti Park in Bihar for the conference of the International Buddhist Sangha Conference 2013. And we are here in order to listen to some speeches and all those kind of things. Yes, Lama Denis de France. Oops, yeah, that's very good. The Lamas from Bhutan, Japan, Indonesia, or Ladakis. The variables from the different temples. Ah, good morning. Nice to see you.
Yeah, Bhante, how are you?
Duleji.
Yeah,
Nice.
how are you, Bhante?
You came from Arunachal?
Yeah.
Wow. Yesterday? You arrived? Oh, I didn't see you yet. So Kashyap ji, how? सब ठीक है?
ठीक है Bhante.
अच्छा जी.
चल रहा है.
About the changes this afternoon, you let me know later, okay?
From almost 15, 16 countries, guests, media persons, and my Dhamma friends. It is indeed a
Poor
moment of
performance,
joy
very few people.
to welcome you again at this and with their experience, which will be a guiding light, I'm sure we'll move forward as was expressed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama yesterday and the Honorable Chief Minister of Bihar. Their views get expressed in what we want to achieve in these 3 days. First of all, we have with us Venerable Olam Dayananda, whom we need no introduction, and he is going to be the first paper of the day today. Please, sir. The topic to be discussed here is the role of the Buddhist Sangha in the establishment of a non-violent society. And I would request our speakers to stick to that topic rather than deviating, because we have similar topics to be discussed in the next sessions. Now we have Venerable Dr. Ashin Achara from Myanmar, who is a professor in the State Pariyatti Sasana University in Yangon, and I would request him to please present his paper.
In order to make a collective contribution possible. Among the sheer limitless teachings of the Buddha, one stands out as particularly important, and it seems that this is a teaching unique to our tradition, that of Patitya Samuppada, interdependence or dependent arising. This is, I believe, the core teaching of the Buddha. All other branches of Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist ethics, and the Buddhist practice take their root in this view, in the understanding that all things arise in dependence, that nothing in this world stands or falls on its own. When I speak of our tradition, I refer, of course, to the Mahasangha, the universal Buddhist community. The Mahasangha is composed of many individual communities dispersed over all continents, and all of these traditions are closely interconnected, being the offspring of Shakyamuni Buddha himself. We have to find our common ground beyond sectarian divide. The Sangha needs to be open-minded. Its members have to listen to and learn from each other. If we shut our eyes and ears in front of each other, all parties can only lose. And in particular, so-called Mahayana followers who consider themselves superior to members of other traditions actually commit a serious transgression. This is why I'm so happy about conferences like the present one, offering us a forum for meaningful exchange. Buddhist traditions have brought immense benefit to their respective communities throughout the ages. In the 3rd century BC, for instance, the people of India have benefited immensely merely by the conversion of one individual to Buddhism, the Emperor Ashoka. In recent times, the movement of engaged Buddhism, inspired by some great masters, including the Vietnamese master Thich Nhat Hanh, have helped many beings around the world. Similar things happen in Sri Lanka, in China, in Japan, in Tibet, and so on. We cannot accurately judge other traditions based on century-old written material. What we can do, on the other hand, is ourselves investigate the living traditions to see and learn what we can offer to each other. We can welcome members of other schools in our midst to share our knowledge and our experience. This will not only strengthen our resources, but also the ties between the different traditions. And to contribute collectively to a non-violent society, the communication between the different Buddhist traditions must be a non-violent one to begin with. Number 4, once the traditions are consolidated, adapted, and united, what are the contributions we can offer the modern world? The contributions we can make to the society of the 21st century obviously have to go beyond the fence of religious institutions. In other words, the contribution towards the establishment of non-violent societies has to be secular in order to reach as many people as possible. It has to be rooted in authentic tradition, but the language and the form it is presented, it must be accessible to all, regardless of their religious or non-religious background. Thanks to the efforts of people like John Kabat-Zinn, the founder of the mindfulness-based stress reduction movement, things are already going in this direction. Today, science seems to be the authority for most areas of life. In many ways, though certainly not all, science replaced religion in the role it used to play in ancient societies. In certain areas, this is certainly something desirable. The scientific approach for validating knowledge through personal experience is also something the Buddha himself advocated. So I quote here, "Monks and learned ones, just as gold is burned, cut, and rubbed, examine my words carefully and do not accept them simply out of respect." End of quote. If science validates a point or even probes it, it is very likely to be widely accepted as a truth to most people. Even the idea of the insubstantial nature of reality put forward by physicists in a commonly accepted truth today, is a commonly accepted truth today, even though this concept seemingly contradicts everyday experience. His Holiness Dalai Lama shows us a wonderful example in this area. Beyond his personal interest in science, he sees the mutual benefit of an exchange between Buddhism and science. I would like to take a look at the benefit secular society can gain from this exchange. Of all fields in which Buddhism can offer valuable contributions, I believe that education is the most important one. The world today is becoming increasingly small, as His Holiness Dalai Lama often points out, due to the incredible amount of modern means of communication. Not only has the world become a tiny place on the computer screen, but the economic interconnectedness implies that decision made in one part of the planet affects the rest of it. The present economic crisis is evidence enough for this. And this interdependence is true for the social and environmental realities we live in as well. All these elements themselves arise in dependence on many factors, and they also mutually affect each other. Choices made on the economic plan can have devastating effects on the social and environmental levels, and vice versa. All of these areas need to be well taken care of to help us build a non-violent and healthy society. These, of course, are specialized fields of research, and I will not elaborate further on them. Where does Buddhism fit in? Buddha himself compared his teaching to medicine. Based on this analogy, we can say that there are two types of medicine. One taken to cure acute symptoms, and the other used to keep the elements of the body in balance to prevent diseases from arising. I think that one of the strong points of Buddhism is precisely prevention. So I quote here again, "Commit not a single unwholesome action. Cultivate a wealth of virtue. Tame completely this mind of yours. This is the teaching of the Buddha." End of quote. By making certain tools of personal development like mind training and meditation refined in the monasteries of the past available to a wider audience, I think that we offer something very valuable towards the establishment of non-violent societies. Ideally, this work should start at the root, basic schooling. If the concepts of loving kindness, compassion, mindfulness, and awareness can find their way into modern system of education, shaping the way children are taught to think and act, Buddhism will have done a great service to modern society. And the way to bring this about is precisely by validating those techniques with scientific means. Wonderful research is being carried out, particularly in the US, observing the effect very simple techniques of cultivating mindfulness and compassion have on young children. I invite everyone to follow the Mind and Life conferences organized regularly in collaboration with the Office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Developing a kind heart and to be of service to others has wholesome effects on many levels. Temporarily, it brings immediate psychological and emotional well-being, and it leads to higher rebirth in the future. Ultimately, it lays the foundation for the attainment of the state of perfect enlightenment. In his Bodhicharyavatara, the Indian master Shantideva wrote, "All the joy the world contains has come through wishing happiness for others. All the misery the world contains has come through wanting pleasure for oneself. Is there need for lengthy explanation? Childish beings look out for themselves. Buddhas for the good of others. See the difference that divides them." And this is from Bodhicharyavatara, chapter 8, verses 129 to 130. As His Holiness harmoniously often says, if we want to be selfish, we should be selfish in an intelligent way. Being of service to others is the most intelligent way to be selfish. In my conclusion, thus one way to contribute towards the establishment of non-violent society in the 21st century can be subsumed in the following 4 points. Number 1, strengthening the traditions themselves. Number 2, adapting education to modern needs. Number 3, encouraging collaboration between traditions. And number 4, offering our support to create secular education based on the Buddhist principles validated by scientific views. Generally speaking, an active social engagement of the Buddhist community has always been highly valued in the Tibetan tradition. With the right motivations, such deeds are the emulation of the path traced by Buddha Shakyamuni himself and illustrated in the Jatakas, the accounts of the Shakyamuni's previous lives at the service of others. It is my hope that by following the example of our teacher, our collective efforts will produce tangible results, and that in a not too distant future. And thank you very much for your attention.
Very, very good. Excellent.
Thank you, Venerable Dr. Kempunawang Joran.
So
I would now like to request Venerable Dhammapala from Hong Kong, who is attached to the Center of Buddhist Studies, University of Hong Kong, to please present his paper.
Chairman, I need to introduce myself a little bit because I'm not coming from traditional Buddhist country. I was born in Malaysia, and I received my higher Buddhist education in Sri Lanka and Hong Kong. After my graduation in Hong Kong University, I stayed behind in Hong Kong and teaching at Hong Kong universities, and also setting up a website called Buddhist Door.
There's no water or
And
anything like that.
my topic today is about the non-violence, about how to establish the peaceful coexistence in the society. And when the United Nations was formed after the horrors of the Second World War, the heads of nations gathered together to sign the charter, the agreement, and agreed on the following. I quoted, "Since it is in the mind of man that wars begin, it is in the mind of man the rampart or defensive wall of peace should be erected." So here, understand the peace and non-violence should be understood, the peace. So the very same sentiments is echoed in the first verse of Dhammapada. The old member states have mind as their forerunner, mind is their chief, and they are mind men. And this is further elaborated in the Mahayana tradition that the external world is just only the projection of the mind to that extent. So, if we really want to create the world peace or the coexistence, harmony in the society, I think Buddhism plays a very important role in the mind. And I think the Buddha's teachings can be summarized as, for his 45 years teaching, in these three simple sentences, that is, to avoid evil, to do good, and to purify the mind. And from these very simple statements, I found two very important teachings, that is on the morality and the mind cultivation. One is on the sila, one is on the bhavana. What is bhavana? Bhavana, of course covers meditation, but to my understanding, the bhavana is not just only extend to the meditation, but I think it can be extended if we practice repeatedly. We try to bring forward the good virtues in our minds, like compassion, loving kindness, gentleness, and peace. So without the morality as the foundation, there's no progressive path for the mind purification. On the mind, if our minds are polluted by greed, hatred, and delusion, our action can be very disastrous, and that perpetuates the conflicts and pain in the mind of the people. So monks should be sufficiently trained in monastics for Dhamma Vinaya and further cultivate the mind, leading to the purification and transformation. This is what we can think of doctrinally if we want to establish a non-violent, or what we call a peaceful society. However, in contemporary society, we realize how the modern society has changed so much. Monks should equip several other practical skills to promote a peaceful and tolerable society. I proposed 4 points to show how the Buddhist Sanghas of today can equip themselves and ready to contribute to the peaceful and harmony coexistence society. First, it's about the academic research. Because I'm trained in academic research, and I can see through academic research we can create a peaceful coexistence, not just only within our Buddhist tradition, but as well to coexist with others' religion as well. And we see there has been a tremendous upsurge of general interest in Buddhism, particularly in the West. We have also seen a particular increase in academic studies around the world on the relationship between the science and Buddhist teaching. As a result, many talented Buddhist monks and lay scholars have devoted their careers in the studies of canonical texts and commentaries. Previously, the traditional study of religious texts and commentaries were largely conducted in monastery today's distinguished universities in the East as well as in the West, such as my university, University of Hong Kong, and Harvard University and Stanford University, also supported by these Hong Kong affiliates. They are sponsoring
honorable members of the Sangha, honorable minister and all the dignitary on stage. At the International Buddhist Sangha Conference 2013, upon several deliberations between participants invited from all over the world to discuss strategically the role of Buddhist Sangha in the 21st century, it is thus resolved that the Global Buddhist Sangha is very appreciative and commends this initiative taken by the government of Bihar along with Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee and Navnalanda Mahavihar. We hope that such regular academic and Sangha conferences can be regularly organized under the joint collaboration with Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee, Navnalanda Mahavihar, the monasteries and the government of Bihar. The conference can rotate in Bodh Gaya, Nalanda, Rajgir, Vaishali and Patna. We believe that Patliputra Karuna Stupa should become an international convening point for major Buddhist conferences. It should also become a center for promotion of interreligious dialogue and understanding. The Sangha members of all schools and traditions should frequently hold dialogues and seminars to preserve the Vinaya rules and lineage. It is also resolved that there is a dire need for Buddhist learning institutes for young monks and nuns in India. We believe that Bihar should play a lead role in this effort, being the birthplace of Buddha Dharma. Given the significance of Vaishali as a place of recognition for the role of women in Buddhism, special efforts should be made to design an educational center focused towards educating the nuns. A curriculum of study should be developed in collaboration with the Navnalanda Mahavihar. It is also resolved that more publications of Buddhist texts in various Indian languages are necessary, ensuring its proper dissemination both electronically and in print. It is also resolved that more effort needs to be made towards exploration and excavation of Buddhist sites and for preservation and protection through local participation, and generate awareness towards the Buddhist sites in India, especially in Bihar. Special efforts should be made for digital preservation and dissemination of sacred Buddhist sites, with interactive information interface on heritage and history. The global monastic community should encourage its members and disciples to visit these sites to increase visibility and vibrancy of the lesser known Buddhist pilgrimage sites. It is also resolved that more communication needs to be established between the needs of the devout Buddhist pilgrims and the authorities managing the Buddhist sites, such as the Archaeological Survey of India and Department of Tourism. We need to remind people that Buddhism is a living, thriving religion with global following. Hence, spiritual tourism needs to be encouraged, and Buddhist circuits should be developed bearing their needs in mind. Once again, on behalf of the monastic community and the participants, I would like to thank the organizers for hosting this very important historic event. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Sir. To please speak a few words.
Honorable Minister, Department of Art, Culture and Youth, Most Venerable Sangha Raja of Bangladesh, Dr. Pant from Navnalanda Mahavihar, Chairman and Secretary of Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee, Sri Tenzin Pridarsi. I am really pleased with the turn of events in the last 3 days.